and then start the video. So I must go to start video. Okay, then it brings up all the boxes, but they're all muted. That's awesome. Okay, thanks, Mel. Thank you. Except I can see one, hey, Tapelo. Okay, all right. Thank you, bye.
Hi everybody, hope you guys are doing well. So for today's lesson I actually turned off all video sharing because of the fact that there's some students that's believed to be very funny in this section, and as well as the comment section. So as you turn on your video, I will stop your video, and the comment section in the chat box is to be used for things relevant to the lesson that we are in. Please do not use this to spam your classmates or the teacher or anything like that, as I will remove you from this lesson. Okay, so please use this only for class-related stuff. Teacher Fiona is going to take over now. But if you need any assistance, you can still use the chat box. I am available to respond to messages over there. But please only use it for class-related stuff. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your lesson.
Right, hello everybody. Hello everybody. I can't see you today, but I know that you're there, and thank you very much for coming. I made a mistake on my first slide and I put welcome to our grade 6 reading lesson, but it's actually a writing lesson today. It's our writing lesson for the week. So I hope that you've got your paper ready or your book to write in, because today you're going to write a story with a frame, and I'm excited about that because I love stories. So are you ready? Have you got your paper and pen ready? And I've got the chat box open here. I see people saying hi. Good. Okay. So remember, we're also using the hashtag lockdown school if you're on social media. And I've put at the bottom of my PowerPoint a reminder to ask your parents to take a photo of you doing your work at some stage and send it to amanda.kalitz1@gmail.com, because we're the lockdown school likes to see what you're doing there back at home, how hard you're working. Good. Let's go on. Now, how do I get this to go on? Right. So my name is Fiona Beale, and I'm your grade 6 lockdown teacher. Hopefully, you've been attending all the lessons this week. I recognized some of the names just now when I was looking through the video names. So welcome back. Welcome back. So this is what you're going to do today. Right, so we're working on term 2, week 1 and 2 of the CAPS curriculum for writing today. And first of all, we've been doing this all week. We've been looking at the 5 elements of a story, which you should know by now, because we've done them twice or 3 times. We'll be introduced to a writing task for today. Oh, I wonder how I can put I've got my WhatsApp open on my computer, so I don't know how to close that now. So we're going to look at the 5 elements of a story. Then I'm going to tell you about your writing task for today. You're going to choose an animal to write about, because our theme for this week is wild animals. After that, you'll choose your story title. We'll plan according to our frame. We'll look at an example plan, and we'll read an example story. Then you'll start writing, and of course you won't get finished by the end of the lesson. So I want to ask you if you could, once you've finished your story at home after the lesson, if you could go into Flipgrid and read your story for me. Okay, that will be so awesome. I'll show you all the details at the end of this lesson. Okay. So let me just see if I can put off my computer sound for now. Yeah, so you can't hear it. Okay, there you go. Right, so it's a busy lesson again. I'm going to work hard. Okay, let's get going. So, you know that this week in our 2 lessons that we've had, the listening and speaking and the reading, we've done 2 stories, right? So the first one was the magic glasses, and you can read this with me if you like. The 4 children played a game called Magic Glasses. They used these to look at 7 unusual animals in our world. One of these animals seemed to be real, and it chased them inside because it's locked down at the moment. So that was the story we listened to in our listening and speaking. And then in our reading lesson, we read Bear Goes Fishing. Bear wanted to catch some fish for his fish bowl, but the fish kept tricking him. He eventually jumped into the lake to get even with them, but instead he found a whole lot of lovely new friends. Okay, so we're just reviewing those 2 stories here, just so you remember, because we're going to use some ideas from the top story, the magic glasses, for our writing lesson today. Now, let's just review the 5 elements of a story. Can you remember what they are? Can you say them with me? Characters, setting, conflict, plot, resolution. Remember those? Every story, every good story has these elements. Some characters, an interesting character, usually the main character and a baddie and a few other characters. The main character and somebody that gives the main character a problem, which I just call the baddie. Then there's the setting, telling us where the story takes place. Some problem crops up in the story that makes it interesting. The plot is all the different events in a logical order, and then eventually that problem or conflict gets sorted out in one way or another. You got that? You remember all that? That's so awesome. Right. So you're ready to start now with our today's story, right? Okay. So have you ever heard of these stories called the Just So stories by Rudyard Kipling? He wrote stories like how the whale got its throat, how the camel got his hump, how the rhinoceros got his skin, how the leopard got his spots. And teachers like me, we love setting stories like that, how some animal got something unusual, something that you think about animals. So we're going to write a story something like that, where you're going to choose one of the animals from the magic glasses and think about what you've wondered about those animals. Okay, got it. Let's just review what those animals were. Remember there was the Siberian tiger. There was the narwhal with the big unicorn horn. There was the orangutan with its big grin and its orangey color. There was the blue-footed booby with its blue feet and its crazy dance. There was the okapi that looked like a mixture of animals, but I find the zebra legs very interesting. And there was the loris, the kiwi bird from New Zealand with that long beak with the nose holes at the end. And then we had our, can you remember what this was? Can you remember? Can you call it out? What was it? The loris from Sri Lanka. Remember those? So what have you wondered about those particular animals? So here's your writing task. I want you to write a story about one of those. a simple story, but I'm going to help you each step of the way. We're going to do it in steps, okay? So these could be some of the titles. As we read through them, think of one and write it down. You can even write it in the chat box, the one that you think would be the one you'd like to write about. How did the loris get such big eyes? How did the Siberian tiger get such thick fur? How did the narwhal get a horn like a unicorn? How did the blue-footed booby get blue feet? How did the okapi get zebra legs? How did the kiwi bird get such a long beak? How did the orangutan get such a big grin? Right, can you hear all those? I mean, can you see all those? Can you write down the one that appeals to you quickly? Write it down. Write it down. You can type it in the chat box if you want to, because I'd love to see what you're going to choose. Right, have you all got your one that you're going to choose? Who's going to write something in the chat box so I can see? Nobody's writing it, or are they? Oh, they are. I'm just not seeing it. Okay. Good. Right, so you've written the title of, that's going to be the title of your story. Good, good, good. Okay. And then, of course, if you prefer, if you've got, no, it has to be one of those, but it doesn't have to be the characteristic I mentioned. For example, you could say, how did the orangutan get its orange fur? Could be a different characteristic. Or how did the loris get silver hair on its face? All right. How did the blue-footed booby learn to do such a crazy dance? Okay, let's go on. Everybody's got their title. Now, basically, what I want us to do today is we're going to plan our story using a frame. So make sure you've got a full page there to do your planning. Okay, we're going to do our planning now. And it's going to look like this in the end. There's your 5. There's a character, setting, problem, plot, resolution. Okay, I'm going to go through it step by step with you. Okay, ready. So first of all, you write your title in the middle, and you've all got your title, haven't you? Good. Next step is to choose your characters. You could maybe just choose 2. So for example, if you are choosing the orangutan, you could have an orangutan, and there could be some other character that gives that orangutan a lot of trouble. Maybe a baboon or a giraffe, some other characters. One's going to be the goodie and one's going to give the problems. Okay. So we got your 2 characters. Then let's go on to setting. Where does the story take place? Okay, so we've done the title, the characters, the setting. You can just write down the keywords at this stage. Okay, what about a problem? What problem happens? Maybe with the orangutan story, the baboon finds some orange paint and decides that he doesn't like the orangutan and he's going to pour paint over him or something like that. Think about the problem that's going to happen in your story. You got your problem and you've jotted it down. Right, so now we're going to get to the plot. So now you've got to think of all the things that happened. First, this happened. Just jot down keywords. Then something else happened. Then something else happened. And something else happened. And then eventually the orangutan discovered that he was now orange. Something like that. Right, you got your plot. You're making your own story. Yes, you're making your own story. Your creative imagination. All you're doing is using one of those animals from the magic glasses. Got that? Good. So somebody says, I'm going too fast. You're just writing down words now. You're not writing your story. You're just writing down keywords, just your ideas. This is like a brainstorm, just so that you know where you're going when we do write our story just now. And then decide at the end for the resolution, how is the problem going to get sorted out? Okay, got that. Okay, so just to go over those again. Number one, you chose your title. Whoops, this is going on without me. Number two, you chose your characters, a goodie and a baddie. Number three, you chose a setting where it takes place. Yes, you can do anything about the tiger, actually. Any characteristic about the tiger. I'm just answering some questions in the chat box as we go along. So after number four, you think of a problem that crops up. Number five, you decide on the plot, just keywords. You can give it more thought just now when we write. And number six, how does the problem get sorted? Try to choose one of the titles I gave from one of the animals that I gave, rather than your own different animal for today. You can always write another story for yourself where you choose a completely different animal. But for today, we're choosing one of our 7 animals from the magic glasses. Someone says they can't hear me. That must be their computer frame, computer sound, I think. Okay, we're going to go on and I'm going to show you an example story planned of an example story. Okay, so I'm choosing a title just as an example. I haven't chosen one of the 7 that were there, just to show you how it works, how the zebra got its stripes. And the characters, I've got a white zebra and a baboon. Okay, then for the setting, I've said a waterhole, just to show you how it all works. Then for the problem, I've said the baboon won't share the water. For the plot, I've said the zebra's got to drink, but the balloon won't let them. The zebra and baboon fight. The baboon's sent to the hills. The zebra walks through the fire by mistake. The zebra's now got stripes. How's it resolved? The animals fight. The zebra gets stripes from the fire. The waterhole is free. Got the idea? All got the idea? Okay. So I'm going to read you that story. It comes from a website called Africa Gateway, and I'm going to read it to you, how the zebra got its stripes. So you can see what happens when you change that plan into a story. Long ago in Africa, you can read it with me if you like. Long ago in Africa, The weather was very hot, and there was only a little bit of water in the water pools. The animals were very thirsty. So that's my opening paragraph with a good opening sentence. One of these water pools was guarded by a noisy baboon who claimed that he was lord of the water. He would not allow anyone to drink at his pool. At that time, zebras were white in color. One hot day, a zebra came to the water hole for a drink. The baboon, who was sitting by his fire next to the water hole, jumped up and barked in a loud voice, "Go away, zebra. This is my pool. I am the lord of the water." So you can see those are all the middle paragraphs where the problem is introduced. And you can start seeing the different events in the plot starting to happen. "The water is for everyone, not just for you," the zebra shouted back. "If you want some of the water, you must fight for it," returned the angry baboon. And in a flash, the two animals got into a fight. Back and forth they went, fighting, raising a huge cloud of dust. Suddenly, with a powerful kick, the zebra sent the baboon flying high up among the rocks of the cliff behind them. The tired and bruised young zebra, not looking where he was going, staggered back through the baboon's fire. It scorched him. It left black burned stripes across his white fur. The shock of this sent the zebra galloping away to the plains. And those are all the middle paragraphs, different paragraphs showing the problem and mentioning the different events in the plot. And finally, the last bit. From that day on, the zebras have had a coat of black and white stripes all over their bodies. They have lived in the plains, while baboons have lived in the rocks of the hills. The water hole's been free for all the animals to use. And there's the end paragraph where you bring the story to an end. You mention how the problem's been solved. Right, everybody, have you got that? Have you got that? Do you understand what you're going to do in your story? Yes, you got it. You've got your, so now obviously you're not going to finish the story today because our class finishes at about 22, but I would like you to once you've finished it, to go to Flipgrid and read your story into Flipgrid. Then I will be able to see your story and read it and enjoy it. So let's just go through what you're going to do now in a minute. You're going to start writing your story. Then you're going to write your opening paragraph. Then you're going to write your second paragraph. Then you're going to write your other paragraphs. Then after that, you'll write your closing paragraphs and you'll read your story into Flipgrid. Now, let me just quickly, before you start writing, let's start writing now. Start writing. So let's start with your opening paragraph. Write your opening paragraph, a nice sentence that that introduces your story. All right. This doesn't need to be a long story. I had about 4 or 5 middle paragraphs. You can just have 1 or 2, the most. Okay, are you ready to start writing? I'm going to put some music on so that you can listen to the music while you write. And after a while, I'm going to tell you to stop writing to finish at home. But I'd really like you to start now. So, can you hear that music? Oh, sorry, I went and turned it off by mistake. just go back here. Okay. Let me just stop you for a minute and ask if is anybody that would like to read the opening paragraph to us? Is there anybody that would like to read your opening paragraph? If you would, just raise your hand and then we can hear you reading what you've just written. Two participants have raised their hands.
I have Teresa.
Okay, I'm glad about that. Can we hear what you have to say? Who's first? Can't hear anything yet. Who should we have first, Mel?
I have unmuted JD as the other kid had a bit of a network connection issue, so JD has been unmuted.
JD, can you read what you wrote?
One day there was two lorises. They were the laziest in the jungle. You could see it in their eyes. Their eyes were so tired, you could tell that they weren't even awake.
Isn't that super? That's fantastic. Well done. I love that. I want to hear the end now. So make sure you read your story on Flipgrid, right? I'll explain how to do that just now after this.
I have
Who else?
unmuted the other hand that was raised.
Okay, who's the other person that was put up their hands? I'm listening. Anyone? I'm not hearing anything yet.
Let
I
me
see
just
was that
unmute
JD that we just
Claire.
heard? I think that was JD we just heard, right?
Yes, I'm going to unmute Claire as she mentioned in
Okay.
the comments. Let me just quickly unmute her. Let me just see. Oh,
Claire?
Kiara. Sorry, I'm going to unmute Kiara.
Kiara?
Kiara?
Very long time ago, before you and me, Noah was just a plain whale. All of his brothers, such as humpback whale and whale shark, made fun of him a lot. He felt very sad.
Isn't that stunning? Wow, that's super, Kiara. Well done. I'm loving this. Anyone else? Anyone else? We'll have one more person and then we'll
Raised
carry on.
hand again.
Who's going to read?
Okay, Andile, I'm unmuting Andile.
Andili?
It was of the coolest winter deep in the ocean, and all fish and heaven living children and grandchildren tell them stories.
Thank you. Thank you very much for reading that. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to carry on and for a few more minutes, and then I will see if somebody would like to read. But for a few more minutes, we'll just carry on writing. Okay. No more raised hands for a few minutes. Oops, sorry. Just want to play the music again. Okay, so is there anyone else that would like to read what you've written so far? Raise your hand. Two people have raised their hands. I'd love to hear what you've written so far. Who's going to be first? Anyone?
Well, our phone TN has been unmuted.
Okay, iPhone TN, let's hear what you have to say. Can't hear anything yet.
them wants to talk to us. I have unmuted. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. Chilidzi.
Okay. Let's hear what you have to say. Silence. Anyone else that want to read what you've got to say? There are some hands up. Okay.
Lerato,
Hello?
you have been
Ah,
unmuted.
Hello.
hello, Lerato. Let's hear what you have to say.
Here is where I was so far. I am so far. One day in
Okay.
the jungle, there was a baboon and a Siberian tiger. They were fighting for the old oak tree that belonged to the Siberian tiger's great-grandfather, and the baboon claims that it was his.
Isn't that excellent? Wow, that's going to be a good story. Thank you very much. Fantastic,
It's a pleasure.
Lerato. Who's going to be next after Lerato? Anyone? I'm always so happy when people are brave enough to share. That is so awesome. Who's going to be next? Anyone?
Hello.
Who's that? I'm listening.
Luthando speaking.
Oh, hello. Let's hear what you have to say.
Once upon a time, there was 4 young whales. They were swimming in the Atlantic Ocean. One of them had a small one, and the other thought he was a whale, so they left him at the Atlantic Ocean.
Very good. Very nice. Well done. Thank you for being brave enough to speak out. That's fantastic. Fantastic. So we'll just have one more now, and then I'm going to explain to you how to write into, how to use Flipgrid. Okay.
Hello,
Hello. Who's that?
my name is Joanne.
Hi, Joanne. Let's hear what you have to say.
Once there was a little baby okapi. His mother had just taught him how to search for food in safe areas. He had just done well on his first try. His dad was a gemsbok and his mom was a zebra. They had named him after his mom's grandfather. He was such a
Wow.
brave man.
Isn't that wonderful? That's fantastic. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Well, I'm dying to hear all these stories as you read them in Flipgrid. So let me go on now and explain how Flipgrid works before our time is up in the lesson. I'd like to hear them all, but unfortunately our time is up. So, I've explained about Flipgrid before. It's a Microsoft program, and it's wonderful for lessons like this where I can't actually see what you've written, but I can hear if you read it into Flipgrid. So all you have to do, but of course you must always ask your parents' permission for this sort of thing. You go to flipgrid.com and you go down to under the children where you see it says enter a flip code. And our flip code is called FAL reading, First Additional Language Reading, FAL reading, all one word. So you would type in FAL reading. Then it asks for a grid password, and our password is lockdown with a capital L and no E at the end, lockdown. You would type in lockdown. And then after that, you'll see that there are 4 topics on the right-hand side. Unfortunately, you can't see it on my thing, but it'll say 4 topics. But after this lesson, I'm going to make topic 5. And topic 5 is going to be grade 6 writing. Okay, grade 6 writing. So you'll click on the one for grade 6 writing. And then you'll see, this is from yesterday. I'm just showing you the reading one from yesterday. 2 people read into Flipgrid. There might be more now. I haven't looked, but I was so happy and I loved listening to them just for 1.5 minutes. That's how long it is. But all you do is you look for grade 6 writing. You'll click that cross and you'll just start reading the story that you've finished writing today. And then I will listen to it and I will give you a comment underneath. I'll tell you how pleased I am underneath. So got that? You got that? So it's grade Flipgrid, then the FAL reading, and then lockdown. Right. So we're just about finished now. So let's just go over what we've done today. We worked from the term 2, week 1 and 2 curriculum for writing. You revised the 5 elements of a story. You were introduced to a writing task. You chose a wild animal to write about, one from those 7 animals we heard about in our listening and speaking lesson. You chose a story title. You planned your story using a frame. You looked at an example plan. You read or listened to an example story about the zebra. Then you wrote your story and you've been asked to complete your story at home and read it into Flipgrid. Got that? Great, you've done well today. So pleased. Now, this week, here's some ideas for you to do this week, if you want to. As I say, practice your reading and your writing by reading into Flipgrid. You can also, if you want to, and you want to write some more stories, there's a lovely site called storyjumper.com. It's a free site with lots of clip art to choose from. That would be lovely for you to write another story. I know there's some writers amongst you. If you want to listen to some stories, and Amazon's made some of their children's Audible stories. That's called audible.com. It's free for school children for a few months while the COVID is on. You can listen for free on your phone, desktop, computer, laptop, or tablet using one of those, using the following link. And finally, today's example story about the zebra came from a website called Gateway Africa. Right, now on Tuesday, I'd like to invite you to our next lesson on Tuesday, which is going to be a listening and speaking lesson for term 2. I see a raised hand. I'll just finish this and then I'll ask you what you'd like to say. And this lesson next week on Tuesday introduces a new story for us to listen to and enjoy. So we hope that you'll see us there. The other thing is that please, if you are on social media, please follow us on social media. Okay, so what about Joanne? Is your hand still raised? Should we hear what you wanted to say? Was that actually Larata or Joanne? Okay, Joanne, Mel, is she unmuted? You are unmuted, Joanne.
It seems like she has lowered her hand. Okay, wait, she's put it back up. There we go. She's unmuted.
Okay, Joanne, what would you like to say?
Ma'am, that was a mistake. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. It's fine. We all make mistakes, so don't worry. Okay, so, well, I think that actually is the end of our lesson, everybody. So thank you very much for joining us today. And I hope to hear some lovely stories and to see you again next Tuesday. Right, bye-bye. Let's close the meeting now.